boop, boop, bada ba 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 bada 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 boo, bada 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 boo, boo, ba 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 bada 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 boo, ra ba 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 bada bada ba, wow 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 wow, ba da 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 da, do 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 do. Do 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 do. Hey, it's the off night. Welcome. I'm your host, Mark Sweetman. Have been for what are we now? 113 episodes. I forgot to change the ticker on one of my things here. Yep, it's episode 113. We started this with Seth Wrestler 2 years ago in April, and because Seth is a radio guy, everything was perfectly in tune and intact and on time, and everything was great. And then he said, I'm going to go off and do other things. Would you like to keep it up? I said, yeah, I think I can, I'm going to get a co-host. And I found Andy Jensen, and I'll probably have a bunch of regulars that we can count on to be funny all the time. And I found Sam Greenfield, and then later T-Barb, and she had to leave. And now we have Jason Grant joins us from time to time. And Kurum Sheik will join us and others. Anyway, so we do it just as a gab fest, kind of like the way the off night always was. We kind of hang out at the open mic clubs and we chat about our lives, our gigs, where their careers are going. Of course, everybody that's on the show now is in their 60s or 70s. And what does that tell you? Our careers ain't really going anywhere. But I think Sam has some career news. I might. And, whatever. Anyway, the reason Andy isn't starting out the show as he normally does is he was on a fishing boat. He didn't make the live show yesterday because he was on a fishing boat. So the man loves his fishing. And he's in Michigan, perfect spot for it. Although if it's in inland water, you do have to throw it back because of PFAS. Jason and I will have to explain PFAS to Sam when he gets on here. And, hey, a lot of news, so let's get right to things as soon as we can. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to read Susan's poem. Hold on just a second. I'm going to mute myself for just a second, call out to my wife here. All right, she's not here. I get to read the poem. Okay. Here is Susan's poem. I haven't read it, so maybe I should go over it. Nah, it's short. I'll go it without a pre-read. This will be quick. Mark is a dick. No, that's not what it says. That's the type of thing when I don't read a poem first, I expect it to say. All right, here's Susan's poem for June 27th, 2022. Always a topical poem. Light, if not humorous, but often humorous. But she put things into verse, and we enjoy it. So here it is. Poem of the week is Looking So Bleak. Roe overturned, women's bodies are spurned. Protests nationwide, all undignified. Thursday, the Supreme Court of the U.S. has ruled concealed carry law in New York must be retooled. A constitutional right. Take a gun to a fight, but a woman's body cannot be her own to hold tight. That's all it is, but I think that's all Susan wanted to say this week. So that's that. So the only two issues on it are the abortion ruling and Supreme Court rulings, basically. Supreme Court rulings on New York gun laws and Supreme Court ruling on the what was to be a Jackson, Mississippi abortion clinic suing about the rules that they passed in Mississippi. And that's what Supreme Court Justice Roberts wanted it to be. But they turned it into overturning Roe v. Wade. So anyway, let's bring two of my best friends and best conversational partners in the biz. Comedian Sam Greenfield. Hello, Sammy.
Hi, everybody. And how's Uncle Tom, Clarence Thomas, you piece of shit?
I wrote something and I didn't publish it, and I don't know why. I'm getting unballsy in my old age or something like that. So I'm going to say it for you guys, since you're here, to tell me that this isn't wrong. I said, when they came for the abortionists, I didn't have abortions because I'm Clarence Thomas. So then they came Then they came for the contraceptives, but I didn't use contraceptives because I'm Clarence Thomas. And then they came for, and I can't remember what was the third case where they said could be ruled by this same precedent. And so he said, but then they came for the interracial marriage. And I'm, oh shit.
I can't believe that.
And I'm,
I can't believe that
shit.
Clarence Thomas.
That was my little Clarence Thomas.
Has anything against or is trying to outrule contraceptives, because this is a guy you're begging, you're praying to God they don't procreate.
But he isn't. Well, anyway, let's get our other partner in crime out here. Here he is, returning to the stage last night for the first time in about 5 years, I think. Here he is, Jason Grant, ladies and gentlemen. Jason, hey. many time guest on the show. First time back on stage last night. How come he's not coming on? Oh man, I buy the cheapest. Oh, here he is. I buy the cheapest computer and I expect it to work like the multi-million-dollar network crap. Oh, come on. Why am I not going on there? It says I click the button that says add to. Oh, here he is. There he is. Jason Grant, everybody.
I know.
Great show last night.
Pardon me?
I said great show last night. When was it? Now, when was the last time you were actually on stage?
It's been early February with Brandy Alexander out there in Jonesville, Michigan, or Jonestown, whatever. It's all the same out there.
Jonestown, Jesus.
Was she trying to get you on stage? Is that why you went with her? Because she wanted you to get back on stage?
She had a spot for someone to open for her. I said, hell yeah. And first time I got paid to do comedy. I mean, I've been paid and laughed at, but it had nothing to do with comedy at the time.
Well, Jason, you know, though, when there are people like me and Brandy trying to get you back on stage, that's got to be complimentary, I would think.
It's very complimentary, and it has to do with this that I had that thing in my head, and it's a gift from my reminding me what revolt vile piece of why they took.
Yeah, just listen to the people that you admire. That's what you should do. The real people. Don't listen to the people. Look, audience members, they don't need to know anything. They just need to laugh. Okay. So if they don't laugh, if they don't laugh, forget about that audience, work on the next audience and retool whatever you do and work on that. But if a comic has been doing it less than, what's that?
So I felt I got a good response last night. I had some people who
I missed that. It squawked. You had a great response last night.
Yeah. I'm shaking some rust off, and I look forward to being there again this Sunday. I really do. And the fact that you guys are encouraging me means the fucking world to me, or I wouldn't be doing it.
Okay.
Because it's time to get out there and do this again.
Now the fact that you'll be there next Sunday makes me laugh hilariously, because remember I did an announcement we weren't having a show next Sunday, so I please have somebody record it, because I want to see you in front of an empty room. I mean, that would be fun. But I didn't hear that.
So you're clipping in and out, Mark.
I think that might be you.
Really?
Can you hear me, Sam?
Yes.
I'm coming okay. Yeah, I think it's your
it's
your phone shit there, whatever that stuff is. Although I like your backdrop. The car backdrop looks better than Sam's. Sam's always got a pillow that looks like it's part of his hairpiece. And
wait a minute.
And I am always in a dark room where I put too much light, so it looks like my forehead is on fire.
There's a thing called sleep divorce.
What's that?
Well, that means that my wife and I don't sleep in the same bed, because she cannot she won't get any sleep. No, not for that reason. I have to get up a couple times in the middle of the night, and she said, I don't know if this is true or not, but she says every once in a while I go like, hi, hi. And I said, that sounds like Tarzan with a goiter. I don't, I don't think that. So I sleep on the couch, which
That
is
sounds like Arsenio Hall's whoop when he's doing his 57th season of his show.
but the couch is fine with me. I sleep well, and that's it. So should we tell Jason the news about my potential?
Yes,
Jason,
Yes, sir.
there's a radio station in Lansing, Michigan.
Yeah.
I don't know what the call letters are, but I think it's KHM.
Okay, it's going to start with a W because it's east of the Mississippi.
Oh, WKHM.
Right.
Okay.
And I applied for a gig there.
Fantastic.
How did you find out? Was it on a?
No, there's a website called All Access.
Okay.
And it has radio jobs.
Excellent.
And you look through it and you go, let me see, radio jobs. Let me see, Missoula, Montana. No. No.
You will be pleasantly surprised at how liberal Lansing is, and how unliberal the callers to your show will be.
Well, listen, I got that when I was in Las Vegas. Yeah. They were very unliberal, but the city is liberal, and the callers loved me.
Yeah, that makes for good radio, though. I mean,
this guy said, "Let me tell you something. I think that you're a communist." And I said, "Why?" And he said, I said, "See, you can't do that. You can't call me a name. And when I ask you, why are you calling me that?
Yeah.
You don't know. Okay.
Yeah.
So I now think you're stupid. And I'm not going to let you go back on the air until you call me and tell me why you think I'm a communist. And until you do, you're blocked."
Yeah, but if he could actually
Sammy, I got some good news for you. This is an AM and FM station.
Yes, in fact, their email is excuse me, KHMAMFM at KMFM. Let me try that again, please. KHM@amfm.com. That's there, and I've never had this happen before. When I normally you send in your resume and you send them a recording of something you've done,
a sample.
They gave out the owner's number.
Wow.
Yeah, and I talked to him.
Well, that's cool.
So Barbara said, "Well, how did it go?" And I said, "Well, he didn't say, well, thanks a lot, but we're not interested." He said, send in your stuff.
That's fantastic.
So I said to Barbara, I said, "Listen, how would you feel about me leaving?" And she goes, "Well, you're probably going to need help packing."
Well, listen, I got news though, but it's 2022. There's no reason for you to actually be in Michigan for more than 3 weeks. You get the feel of the place, you get a couple of maps so that you can act like you're in town, and then just go back home to New York and phone it in,
I hope that's what he wants.
Art Bell used to do a show from.
I know Art Bell. Or did he die?
I think he passed away. Isn't Art Bell the UFO guy?
He did it from a double wide in Pahrump.
Pahrump, Nevada. Art Bell was the master of late night radio.
And by the way, Pahrump is one of the 2 counties in Nevada where prostitution is legal.
As well as.
So I go to do it, and I did a gig in Pahrump. Oh. and I come home and I tell my wife, they have the pretty. She looked at me. I love this story. She looked at me like I was an utter moron. She goes, "How was the gig?" I said, "It was really good." I said, "They have some of the prettiest women there, and they were so friendly to me." And she said, "Do you know where Pahrump is?" And I said, "What do you mean?" She said, "It's whore heaven."
God.
And I said, "Gee, that really discourages me."
Not me.
Yeah, I'd hate for that to happen.
Yeah, I was about to say, it's time to get a tank of gas and some Viagra. Nevada, here I come.
What a nightmare!
All right, here's what I found, Sam, from my Google search. That
Yes.
what you told me. It's not Lansing, it's Jackson. Did they tell you it was Lansing?
Well, in the ad, it said Lansing.
Well, Lansing's
probably
near. Jackson is just south of Lansing. They're both on US 27, and Lansing is a larger market, so maybe they're trying to get themselves into Lansing or something. I don't know.
That's an interesting point you brought
But Jackson,
up.
let me tell you, as much as Jackson's not a large enough market for that. In fact, Jackson's closer to Ann Arbor than it is Lansing. So
it's about 25 miles from Ann Arbor. I used to fly there fairly regularly, and I spent some time there. Compliments of the state in Jackson. Wonderful town.
Oh, that's right.
It's interesting. I'm going to put that idea to him, to Mr. McDonald. I'm going to say, what would you think about the idea of me, coming to Lansing for a few weeks, getting a lay of the land, and then going back to New York and doing the show from there?
I don't see why not. I mean, that's the way a lot of radio's done these days.
Hey, Sam, if you need to, put me in as producer, and I can be your ground guy here.
Well, what's interesting. How about if I lie to Barbara and say I'm still up here?
You'd have to have a speaker and a microphone situation where Sammy, are you still up there? Yeah, I'm here. Okay, just checking.
Honey, I'm freezing up here. It's so cold.
Oh God, that's so funny. Oh man, we'd love to have you in Michigan though.
I'll tell you what would be funny. If Barbara says, I'm going to surprise Sam and come up there.
Oh, that's funny.
And she finds out I'm living in Brooklyn.
So would this be
by the way, I'm sure that, listen, the money's pretty good. So I'm pretty sure I'm not the only person on the planet, applying.
Well, I'm trying to think. Jason would know the Jackson radio market better than I would. And you get cities like Jackson, and they're trying to, if they have an AM tower and they've got enough wattage, they're trying to get Battle Creek, Kalamazoo, and Ann Arbor, along with Lansing and any of those, Adrian and
right, because it's all flat.
And so they're trying to get all of southern Michigan outside of Detroit, probably.
Yeah. And
everything goes on well. Yeah, so I could see that. But as liberal as I said Lansing was, I said you'd get liberal town, but conservative callers. In Jackson, you'd get conservative town, conservative callers. Jackson is. What's that?
I mean, Jackson is, among other things, the home of it is the birthplace of the Republican Party.
It's the birthplace of the Republican Party. But it's not today's Republican Party. It was the birthplace of the Republican Party that gave us Abe Lincoln, not Trump,
We're different. Okay, I will grant you that. 1856 was a long time ago now for some.
By the way, did you see what happened with Giuliani?
No. I hope you get what happened.
He was in Staten Island.
Yes.
Passing out literature for his son.
Yeah.
And this is all you need to know about his son. His son declared his candidacy for the governorship of New York City. Excuse me, of New York State.
All right.
He turns around. He's at the harbor. He's at the seaport. He turns around and sees the Statue of Liberty and says, and I swear he said this, did they move it?
God, is that funny?
Not
Did he say it because it's not in New York anymore? It's now in New Jersey. Is that why? It's always been in New Jersey.
And not only, I don't know if you know this about him. He was on the Duke University golf team.
Okay.
And he was kicked off the golf team by petition of the golf team.
Oh, dear.
He broke. He has a horrible temper. He broke. And by the way, I'm find out what he get a photo of him, okay? And when you're done looking at the photo, tell me he doesn't look Cro-Magnon.
Is it Andrew? Is it Andrew Giuliani?
Andrew Giuliani.
All right, hold on. Let me get a photo here.
Frightening looking son of a bitch.
Andrew Giuliani. While we're waiting for that to come up. Oh, wait a minute.
So the guy, so he's passing out these leaflets, right? And a guy at a supermarket, and and one of the employees.
Now look at that. He's the type of guy that's trying to do an overbite. And let me see if I can get this right here. Oh, shit. I got my stupid. Let me turn my light off here.
He needs to have a salad with lunch.
Doesn't he look like he's trying to do an overbite?
Do you remember when Giuliani made an inaugural speech and there's his son was like bouncing around like he was on coffee?
Yes.
That's him.
Oh, that's him?
Yes.
He's now old enough to run for governor? Holy crap.
Yes.
Years now. I mean,
all right, speaking of candidates, I just got my absentee ballot today for August primary. Check it out. See if I can get this up here. Oh, I got it. Hold on. I got to switch my camera around here. Damn it. Let's do camera settings, blah, blah, blah. This may take me off the screen. I'll be right back. Come on.
Hey, Barbara, the Lions are doing great.
I can't change it? There it is. All right.
The delegate to
we're here. Let me see if I can get that in there. Here we go. Here we go. Oh, all the way over. There we go. Still
in there is a delegate.
I'm on the county ballot. I'm on the county ballot, baby.
All right.
Plus, I'm in an election where you vote for not more than 2, and there's only 2 on the ballot. I'm in.
You gotta like.
I'm in. Actually, I'm going to appreciate having help this time. I was a precinct delegate in 2018 and a precinct delegate in 2020, and that's been getting harder and harder and harder. My particular precinct is 5 Republicans for every 2 Democrats. So we're.
Well, here John Wayne Gacy was
2.5 to 1 here. So it's and what I've been doing is I've been knocking on doors. I'm going, excuse me, are you a Republican or a Democrat? Well, I'm not really either. I go, well, I'm a local Democrat. And they'll go, oh, well, I'm a Republican then,
Wow.
And that freaks them out because, we always. No, but you heard the big thing now is because the Republicans, that they hate just as much, and they've come up with pedophiles. So now all Democrats are groomers and pedophiles because they don't like being called racist. I still want to raise it. I want to raise it again. And we've talked about this before on the show. Cocksuckers. I want to call them cocksuckers because I think that I think it fits. One, I like the regressive K sound in my words. It flows.
No. I'm watching Shark
Sammy always
Tank.
looks like Sammy always looks like every once in a while on the show. Sam looks like the puck has just dropped on a screen.
Hey guys,
how about them Avalanche, baby?
So anyway, I'm on the ballot again. Yeah, they haven't won it yet. They got to go on the road again too. Did they play tonight?
No.
Did they play tonight?
They won.
No, they haven't.
No, they won.
Oh, they won it already. I missed that.
They won 2-1. They beat the Ing.
The two-time Stanley Cup champions they beat. Well,
and by the way, they not only beat them, they beat them at Tampa.
Yeah. They beat them at Tampa twice. Twice.
Yep. And their record in the Stanley Cup playoffs was 16-4.
Damn.
Wow.
Damn.
Wow.
Of course,
because they shut out Edmonton.
They only lost 4 games through that whole run. That's amazing. Wow.
That is amazing.
How did the Warriors do in the NBA? What was their record in the NBA playoff run? They didn't lose more than 6.
I think. Let me see. They lost 2 to Boston. They lost.
They played Dallas.
1 to Dallas.
Yeah. And then they played They played Phoenix, right? Phoenix was the other team they played, and they swept them, didn't they?
Yes.
So yeah, they did.
No. Dallas played Phoenix,
Oh, okay.
and Dallas beat the snot out of Phoenix.
Yes. And Phoenix was the top ranked team too, weren't they?
Yeah,
Weren't they?
oh man, they played like they were trying to lose.
Sometimes I wonder, now that there's all these gambling apps.
But these guys make so much money.
Yeah, that's true.
You know, how much would you have to pay them? I mean,
Yeah,
you know, these guys average $3.5 million. Show me a bookie who's going to put up that kind of dough. And
yeah.
you know,
And
you know, I don't know who, you know, unless somebody asked me on TV one day.
That's why all the good gambling is in college.
Yes, then you're talking.
Yeah,
Somebody asked me, did I think Pete Rose should be in the Hall of Fame? And I
do.
said, never.
Yeah,
Really?
thank you.
Never. And I'll tell you why. Not only do you know any guys who are addictive gamblers?
I know a few addicts, yeah.
Okay. Not only do I think he gambled, I'll bet you anything he bet against his own team.
Yeah.
Okay? And if you bet against your own team, that means you leave a pitcher in longer than he should be when he was managing.
Yep.
Absolutely. No, I'm sorry.
More importantly, he knew the rules. He knew the rules that if you get involved in gambling in that sport, you know the guillotine is waiting for you.
And the thing I hate about him is it was like, listen, I know all the rules. He's a fucking hypocrite.
Oh, big time.
He just is. You know, I know all there is to know about baseball. Oh, do you know about cheating? Do you know about that? Now, if he had just gambled, if he had bet on hockey or basketball or football, I'm okay with that. I am.
Here's the problem with any manager or coach that makes decisions during the game, gambling on anything. Because even if you're not gambling on your own sport, if you get down to a bookie and he offers you a chance to get out of it,
to get clean,
you know what I mean? On your game, sure he's going to put the wrong pitcher in. Sure he's going to, make a different lineup or something like that. Sure.
And by the way, don't tell me the team doesn't know it.
They figure it out. They're not stupid.
Yeah, that's right.
They're not stupid. Vegas is the one who busted the crooked zebra in the NBA about 8-9 years ago.
Yeah.
Yep. Tim McConney or something like that.
The guys who do the stats in Vegas are the very best in the world. I mean, these guys are MIT freaking rocket scientists.
That's right.
You start throwing games, they will know. It's not like 35 years ago when you could pay Roman Gabriel to do a hook slide in the fourth quarter because he was making at that time league minimum.
I heard that was his boyfriend's favorite move.
Hello.
I think it was. Yeah, God. People forget that the NFL's had a couple of fellow travelers in the backfield there.
You know my favorite euphemism about gay men who are in show business. Perennial bachelor.
Oh yeah, confirmed bachelor is what I heard.
Yeah.
Mother used to say that about Paul Lynn. He's a confirmed bachelor.
He's a confirmed bachelor.
You bet he is.
He loves dick, but he's a confirmed bachelor.
He might die.
It's funny. I suggested this to somebody, and they just thought it was a hoot. I go, they were preparing us for all the gay people in showbiz with Snagglepuss on Hanna-Barbera cartoons. Exit stage left already. That was preparing us. That was getting our gaydar going. With Snagglepuss on Hanna-Barbera.
I was watching an old Hollywood Squares on YouTube.
Yes.
Paul to Paul Lynn. Paul, you are the world's most popular fruit. What are you? He goes, humble.
My favorite.
God, that was great. Now, he didn't write those, did he?
No, they gave him.
They gave him some, but wouldn't it be great to be on a staff to be able to write for a Paul Lynn? God, that would be fun.
Oh man,
it would be like jokes Seth can't tell.
Who's the guy? Waylon Flowers and Madam.
Yes.
I met him. Yeah. Could not have been a nicer guy. Yep. Could not have been a nicer person. So
he came to the comedy cast here in Detroit. We got to meet him. So
we're talking.
early
and
on.
he was on Hollywood Squares all the time.
Yeah.
And he told me that there was this little girl who was the March of Dimes poster girl. And, you know, and Peter Marshall goes, and here she is. I'm making up a name, obviously, Debbie Davis. And she's the blah, 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 blah. And so she's backstage now with Waylon Flowers in his dressing room. And she says, she sees the, you know, the little mink wrap or rat wrap that Madam is wearing.
Yeah.
And the kid turns out to be a bitch. And she says, I want that mink wrap. And so I know that voice is a little strange, but what could I do? And Waylon Flowers said to me, you know, the thing is like rat fur. I said, take it. It's with my blessings, take it. But then she wanted Madam's crown. And the crown's a different story because the crown was only sized for a head as big as Madam's.
Yeah.
And he said, I can't give you that, Debbie. I'm really sorry. She says, fuck you. I'll get it. You watch the act I put on. They'll be begging you to give it to me. At that moment, Paul Lynde walks into Waylon's dressing room, and he said, and he knew the little girl was a bitch. And he says to Paul, he says to her, I noticed you didn't make your little mangled body up to my level. Let me know the next time let me know the next time you want to come up. I'll put some Mazzola on the steps so you can slip and break your other fucking leg, you little bitch.
Oh my God. Oh God.
I said to Waylon Flowers, I said, what did you do? And he said, and this is exactly what he said. He said, I was praying that kid wasn't armed. Because he thought that little girl, if she had a gun, would go, no, Mr. Lynde, please don't shoot. Give me the gun, please. Bang. He said she was the most evil child he's ever met in his life.
In showbiz? I'm shocked.
Get out of here.
Yeah.
Peter Marshall.
And so when I was in DC, Waylon Flowers said to me, I'm doing a show at the Warner Theater, you know, in DC. Let me know if you want tickets. I'd love to, you know, you and your wife to come. I said, oh, that's so kind of you. I would love to. I would absolutely love to. So he gives us a couple of tickets, and we go to the Warner Theater, which holds about, that's where I saw Ben-Hur, by the way, the movie Ben-Hur. It holds about 1,800 people, okay? 1,798 were gay.
A young Lindsey Graham had the time of his life.
Or the life of his time. Yeah. And so I said to my wife, I said, you know the Tommy James song? She goes, I know what you're going to say. I said, what? I think we're alone now. But he was great. Puts on a hell of a show.
Waylon Flowers died in 88?
Yeah.
Yes.
He died
yes.
Very early on.
AIDS.
Yep. And he also, when he had Madam did the bit, and it was funnier than hell when she's sitting there saying, I'm going.
Oh, did it? Oh, yeah.
She goes, isn't that dangerous your age? Oh, well.
That's about that time.
What, honey? Okay.
Uh-oh. Hey, guys, Mark is kicking out on me. I'm gonna restart my feed here, so I'll be back in a second, okay?
Sure, that my dad said that. I'll be back in a minute.
Yeah, we'll take care of all the things we need to talk about with Jason gone.
All right, let's badmouth him while he's not here.
Anyway, one of my favorite Paul Lynde jokes is Peter Marshall goes, Paul, how can you tell a male turtle from a female turtle? And Paul Lynde goes, you turn them upside down and the one that smiles is female.
Oh, that's hysterical. I like the one about Paul. He says, Paul, if you go for your arm, what was it? When you get a physical, are you supposed to to put your hands on the doctor? And Paul goes, kept me out of the Marines.
Oh my God. Oh, what a
Oh,
time.
I went to see Hollywood Squares. I was there. Okay.
Uh-huh.
And it was Paul Lynde was there and Vincent Price was there.
Ooh.
And Paul and Peter Marshall says, Paul, by the way, you know what Peter Marshall's real name is, right?
Lecoq, isn't it? Something like
Lecoq.
Pete Lecoq or something like that.
His son was a baseball player.
Yes, for the Royals.
Yes.
I remember that.
Yes. So he says to him, he says, Paul, Vincent Price recently made a movie called The Incredible Dr. Phibes. Within 10, how many movies has that made for Paul? Excuse me, for Vincent. And Paul Lynde goes, well, he made 3 last week. And Vincent Price says, and that's more than you've made in your lifetime.
Whoa.
Now I'm sitting there, right? And I'm going, are they going to swing on each other? Are they going to? And then Paul Lynde says, well, some of us are choosy. and then Vincent Price says, and some of us are unemployed. And then Rosemarie.
This is like pitchers. This is like pitchers throwing at each other before the designated hitter.
Yeah. And then Rosemarie says, listen, you two bitches, I gotta pee. Can we finish this up? and who was it? Oh God, who was it? John Davison said, well, would anybody in the audience like to guess which segment of this show is going to get edited? Come on, anybody, show of hands. Anybody.
Oh, that's funny.
Yeah, so when I saw it at home, the only thing they actually edited was the you bitches and I gotta pee. Other than that, it all stayed in.
Oh, that's funny.
That's good TV.
Is funny.
We used to get away with stuff on TV back then. It's not even watchable anymore by and large. I mean, there was at least interesting broadcasting back in the day, even when you go back a little further than that. I mean, what Twilight Zone, whatnot. I mean, they were able to say and do things I don't think you could get away with anymore. But
you know, the question is always asked. Yes, ma'am. What's up? Thank you very much, honey. I'm always asked this. I'm always asked. The question is always asked. Could you make all? I love when you turn.
No, you couldn't.
Sam, I love when you turn to somebody in your room because your camera turns with you. You are so TV that you have the camera. We don't get to see that person, but we know that they're off to the side of you. You know, the rest of us.
It's my daughter. She bought some fries and
turn to my wife. Turn to my daughter.
And she offered it. Oh, look at here, Kelly Ripa. Somebody said to me, you know, Kelly Ripa's a real bitch. And I went, you know something? Unless I'm talking to Sweetman or Grant or you know, I don't care. I said, I don't. I said, if she's a bitch, okay, then she is really selling it well. Okay. She comes across as sweet and delightful. And I said, I'll tell you something else. I don't believe that. I believe that whoever told you that either is lying or came across her when she was having a bad day.
Yeah.
You know what? Here's another
people
thing.
Have bad days, you know.
And I hate to whip the Bible on people, but somebody said to me one time that Mike Birbiglia was a dick. And I said,
oh, man.
I said, how would you know that?
The king of NPR comedy?
Yeah.
He's wonderful.
He is. And I said, I said to the guy, I said, what did he do to you? He says, well, he hasn't done anything to me, but I heard. I go, well, you know what? That's why God made a commandment not to bear false witness. You are not an actual witness to Mike Birbiglia. So shut up about whether he's decent or not. You know
my favorite line of his? I love this line. He says, I'm looking for my dream woman. I'm looking for a woman who wants me only for my money, but is really bad in math.
That's a great line.
Oh, man. I had him on my radio show. And whoever told you, I know you know this already. They're lying. He couldn't be nicer.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
And as Jason said, Mr. NPR.
Yeah. Yeah, that's where I first encountered him, was listening to him. I forget what one of the Saturday morning, comedy programs they have on there. It's usually worth listening to.
You know the one I missed. Did you guys ever listen to Rewind? It was out of Seattle.
Yes.
It was on between, and the other one was from Madison, Wisconsin. I like was who not much. It was I can't remember the name of the show now, but it was like the title of the show was a question, and the audience would always answer, "Not much." You
Yes,
remember that one? What was the name of that show? What do you know? That was it. What do you know?
Yeah.
Out of what do you know out of Madison, Wisconsin? I love all those shows from these towns that aren't New York, Chicago, or
They had,
LA.
like,
I mean,
prize
and NPR is great at it.
I mean,
Well, you know what I found out? You know remember those commercials with the cavemen?
the progressive one.
Progressive.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay, yeah, okay, progressive, okay.
Do it, that kind of thing.
They were made by and there was another group of great commercials. They were done by a company out of Richmond, Virginia.
Wow.
And I think that's great.
Yep.
Yeah, me too.
I just think that's fat, you know. And so somebody said, "Yeah, but they're taking business away from people in New York." I said, "Shut up. Just shut up."
Yeah. Stan Freeberg's dead. It's open for everybody now. You know.
Yeah, that's right. By the way, I hate to bring this up, but not a pleasant guy.
Wow.
But you know, once again, I don't. You know, I'm just saying that to you guys, but I don't care.
Yeah.
You know, I'm just saying to say, but I don't. You know, he was a brilliant satirist.
Yeah.
The biggest disappointment I ever had in any interview I ever had was with Steve Allen.
Oh yeah, you told me about and I can see Steve Allen just being just
a monster,
a glacial sized jerk.
Well, you know, it's funny. The guy who asked me to interview him came from Newbury Press, and what they did, Newbury Press's company was, you write a book, you give it to Newbury Press, and they get you interviews.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay. So the guy who, I think I've told you this, but I'm going to tell it again. The guy who called me, you know, to ask about Steve Allen had got me some really good people. Sonny Barger from the Hells Angels.
That's a great interview.
You ain't kidding, brother.
Boy,
Carl Malden, who talked. This was so great to me. He spent 20 minutes talking about his friendship with Marlon Brando.
That sounds like Malden.
You know,
great. Yeah.
The only thing that made it tense was that he defended. What's his name? He did It's a Wonderful Life.
Elia, no, not Elia Kazan, right?
Frank Capra.
Capra, okay.
And I hate Capra because he named names.
That was Kazan, though. That was.
I'm sorry, I meant Elia Kazan. Forgive me. You're right. I'm wrong.
Yeah.
Yeah. I hate him because he named names. And he not only named names, he named names of people who had already been outed as communists, and they weren't. Well, you know. Jesus, why don't you throw dirt on them?
You know, I mean that, but that's why he did On the Waterfront. That was
and Bud Schulberg.
Yeah, who
painted this picture of Terry Malloy? You know, is really brave for naming names, and of course they had to make Lee J. Cobb, you know, this villainous character,
and he played it really well.
Don't you get it? They're dusting off the hot seat for me.
Yeah, he's right up there with Ernest Borgnine with being able to convey menace with just a stare or a glance.
Which reminds me, I just saw one of the best movies. I watch this movie every time it's on. Bad Day at Black Rock.
What a great movie.
Oh, my God.
What year is that?
56, I'm guessing.
Yeah.
You know, there's the movie I can't turn off every time it comes on. There's two of them. Once Upon a Time in America.
You can or can't?
I cannot turn that off. I just
turn it off. Okay.
Yeah. Turn it off. And the other one is Al Pacino's Scarface.
Oh,
I love that. You know, people. I do not understand why people do not recognize the brilliance of that performance.
Oh, and that's a brilliant movie. Brian De Palma. I mean, who else would you want to take a movie so far over he casts it perfectly. And those who lived in Miami at that time say it was actually the soul of conservatism compared to what was really going on in Miami at the time. I mean,
Speaking of,
up to including the chainsaw in the bathroom scene. Yeah,
yeah,
great movie.
that was great. Hey,
Oh my
hey,
God.
Jason, speaking of from the area, did you see The Irishman?
Yes, I did.
Are you
Great.
close enough to Are you close enough to Detroit to kind of get all of the things
Yeah.
about Detroit in there?
Oh yeah, they did
That
a
was a
good job.
great. That was a. I don't know how great a movie it was, but it was a fun movie just
I
because I knew so much of the area that they were talking about.
I still remember sitting in my parents' living room watching their 19-inch RCA color TV
Wow.
when yeah, the kind of console that had to be dropped into your house with a crane. You remember when you know
Uh,
and a
Back
tube
it up,
would go
back it
out.
up, back it up. Right there.
Yeah, the a tube would go out and everyone would be fuchsia and yeah,
Well, how about when you're trying to
but that air,
fix the
that airport.
horizontal? You remember
yeah,
trying to fix the horizontal,
yeah,
Yeah,
you know. Oh
and you
my!
go, don't, no, stay there. Don't get up. Don't
Don't
get up.
don't move. Yeah, it
but
just
the airport where that.
Oakland Pontiac is where they
Yes,
flew in.
I grew up.
I
I grew
I,
up.
I
I grew up a
training on
block and a half from that airport all the time that shit was going on, and
pitch to fly too. I've flown into it many times. It's
By
my
fun.
by the way, speaking of airports,
Yeah,
did you when those TVs were in fashion? Did
yeah.
you live near an airport?
Oh God,
yes, I know exactly what you're talking about.
I did.
Oh,
the
I
six.
lived near National Airport. I
Yeah,
oh,
sure did.
that's
Oh
funny.
man.
We had that every time a plane came over. It was like you'd see the waves on the screen.
yeah.
It looked like you're watching something through an aquarium or something. It looked like there was
Yeah.
My
water.
father lost the sight in his left eye when I was about 5 years old, and he's what my father was addicted to pro wrestling,
Oh my goodness.
and so he's watching Antonina Rocca, the Argentine whirlwind, wrestle Karl von Hess, the
I,
Mad Prussian, whose real name, I might add, was Paul Ginsberg.
Oh, I love it. I love it.
and
Okay, and remember
You
Skull Murphy?
uh,
He had no hair on his body, and they said it was from Scarlet. He was from County Cork, Ireland. He was from Wheeling, West Virginia.
the
So
thing
my
about
father's watching this. My father, if my sister was watching a show with like a great dramatic show, my father would just come into the house and change the channel.
right,
You
yeah,
know,
absolutely. Because we're watching.
absolutely, I'm watching this.
Yep.
And so
and that was back when there was only one TV in the house.
that is correct, sir.
Right.
And so my father's watching the wrestling, and it's getting heavy. They're beating the shit out of each other, and the fake blood and all that. And all of a sudden, a plane flies over, and you literally can't. Now, remember, my father's blind in one eye. You literally can't tell what's going on in the screen if you could see with two eyes. And my father walks outside and looks up at the sky and says to the next plane that flies over, "When you land, I'm going to kill you." I said, "Dad, it's not that plane." "I don't give a shit. When you land," I said, God, you're
Oh
so
man.
angry. And my brother-in-law, who was one of the best people I've ever known in my life, my sister Corinne's husband, um, he did everything in his power, because I was like a baby. So if my father said it was real, it was real. He did everything in his power to convince me it was fake. And he said, "Do you understand that you have two men who weigh 220 pounds each, and they're punching each other in the face, and there is not a drop of blood? Do you
Right.
understand that?" And I go, "I don't care. I don't care."
That was
And
220 was a big person nowadays. I mean, shit.
well, they're huge now.
Yeah. Oh yeah, I know. But I mean, two guys at two. I mean, I remember Muhammad Ali fighting at 165, and that was a heavyweight.
That was a heavyweight. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, yeah.
I remember linebackers weighing 165.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And right now,
Remember
yeah.
how much? Remember how much bigger George Foreman was than Muhammad Ali when they fought?
Oh, yeah.
I mean, he looked like a gigantic. Yeah. I miss those days. I miss those Friday night fights. you know.
I
And then,
saw the Ali Foreman fight.
Oh
I
my
was
God.
one of 9 people in New York State to have HBO,
Yeah. Yeah. That
hmm,
was
and that was one of the great. There's no athlete I love more than Ali, and I watched that fight, and it was just one of the greatest nights of my life.
I only got to see that fight about 6, 7 years ago when someone posted it up on YouTube. Because as you know, pay per view at the time
Right.
at Chrysler Arena, which seats at that time about 13,000 people, sold out at $5 a head, which in the mid '70s was good money. To watch it on a big screen at Chrysler Arena. But it was a time though when the whole world would stop for a prize fight, and that just
Oh
didn't happen
yeah.
anymore.
I
Well,
tell you,
my favorite.
between 87, or I'm sorry, between 78 and 82, I had uh, a journalist card, a sports reporter card from the college newspaper that I worked with. And I basically got to see Tommy Hearns rise from just being a local fighter into being a national fighter. And it was
God, he
great.
could fight
Until
It
he
was,
met
I,
Mark.
I
until
barely
Hagler.
talk about it, but
I mean, he beat Roberto Duran,
it was one of the
but Hagler, who
marvelous Marvin
Marvin
Hagler, yeah,
one of the
the shit
greatest
out of
fighters of
Roberto
my
Duran.
generation, and they screwed him
Well, the thing that was great
by
about the
hard
thing,
continuous. And
yeah.
I didn't hear you.
Well, the thing
What
that
did
was
you
nice
say,
about the
Jason?
I was talking about how Hagler was screwed deep, wide, hard, and continuous because they wanted Sugar Ray Leonard to win that fight. It went from 15 rounds down to 12, the first one to go down to 12. And even though Leonard outpoints him for the first few rounds, Hagler really, I don't know. I see Hagler.
Let me tell you why I think I disagree with you, and I'll tell you why.
Okay.
Because Leonard fought a brilliant tactical fight. Now here's
He had
why.
he would
But
have been
here's why. He just dodged him and ducked him
right.
until 30 seconds left in the round.
Yeah.
And then he would land 6 punches, boom, 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 boom. So
And
the judges gave the round to him.
he outpointed him. He absolutely
He
did that,
absolutely did.
but didn't
Um,
take the chance.
but I agree with you in principle that Hagler fought the better fight.
Yeah, and it should have been a 15-round fight. They'd gone from 15 rounds down to 12.
Well,
Right
that's his man. See, that's his manager. That's his handler's fault.
yeah,
That's sometimes you got to call their bluff, okay? And that's one of those times. If we don't go 15, we're not fighting.
exactly. And Hagler, well, he basically felt that Leonard wanted, they wanted him to sell more Diet 7 Up, which he was the pitch man for.
That's right.
And yeah, and Hagler was not particularly telegenic. He did a couple of underarm deodorant ads and whatnot, and he passed away, I believe, last year or year before.
Did Hagler die?
Hagler has passed. He's left this earth, but I always gave the man credit because he didn't talk an extraordinary amount of bullshit, and he brought it into the ring
And kept his money.
and kept his money and didn't play around. Kept his family, yeah. And like I said, and technically, I thought the guy was one of the best boxers I've ever laid eyes on. He was an amazing boxer.
That fight with Hearns though, that made my jaw hurt.
He died March 13th, 2021.
He did.
Yes, he did.
Damn. How old was he?
He was
65, 66.
he would have been 67. He was 67 years old.
You know, it amazed me how long Ali lived.
Yeah, he lived in Michigan for many, many years. Out on
Yes,
the
he
west.
did. He trained in Michigan.
That was the secret to his success, was living in Michigan.
Living in Michigan.
Well, that's the secret to him living a little bit longer. I think he got out of the mainstream and was able to be taken care of, and the man was not well served by his management.
No, tell your auntie I'm an Ypsilanti.
No, if be North by Northwest, there's a great scene when they're in the train station and they start listing Grand Rapids, Kalamazoo,
yes,
Ann Arbor, Ypsilanti.
Well, you know the great gaff scene in North by Northwest, right? When they're in the cafeteria.
I was about to say, what, ear hair in George Washington's head, or?
And they're in the cafeteria at Mount Rushmore.
Right.
And Eva Marie Saint goes to shoot Cary Grant, and there's a kid who puts his fingers in his ears 3 seconds before she holds the gun.
I've got to see the guy. I've not.
Yeah, and they've never taken it out. So yeah, you'll be able to see it.
Wasn't she great as the icy blonde femme fatale in that movie?
She was great in everything.
I know. God, she was good. God, I did. Oh,
James Mason.
yes.
Oh man.
Martin Landau as his slightly closeted gay lover.
Slightly.
Go back.
He smelled like naphtha. Are you kidding? His Hebrew name was Darnia. Come on, man.
Well, again, you look at it as a kid, you don't get it, but when you're a little older and you see some of the interaction between the two characters, and it's like, okay, yeah, there's definitely some serious buggery going on here just off.
Speaking of, if you don't know that they're gay, you're legally blind. Rope.
Yes.
Oh man, I thought Farley Granger was going to go, I'd like to talk to you longer, Professor, but I have to blow this guy. I'm sorry, I just do.
Well, the direction in Ben-Hur, and where they
yes,
they did not tell what's his name, Charlton Heston, but they told the guy playing T'Challa that you were
Heston would have quit.
Yeah, you're playing this character as someone who had a homosexual affair with this man when you were in your teens, and now you want to resume the affair, and you can see that, and you can see Heston is totally oblivious to it because he's the finest block of wood that ever took up acting.
But a great voice.
It worked. I wish I had half of his talent, but I mean, in Touch of Evil, he's an amazing actor. But there were other times you could tell he was totally clueless.
How about Spartacus?
Oh my God! Yeah, that one again. Lawrence Olivier.
Over yonder is the house of my father.
And Tony Curtis, the whole.
My favorite thing. If I told you this, please stop me. But Tony Curtis was from Brooklyn. Did I tell you this?
You told us about where he banged Yvonne DiCarlo.
Yes, that to me, that's Hollywood right there. That is Hollywood, California. Hey, Billy, I fucked Yvonne DiCarlo. Window goes up, leaves.
Yeah. But I would be gladly on that corner, getting soaked in the rain.
Oh yeah.
Hell yeah! You Yvonne DiCarlo, absolutely.
Well, Tony Curtis said.
Can I smell
he wanted the reputation when he died of having made love to the most beautiful women in Hollywood. That's all he wanted.
He might have done it too. I mean, the guy was rather free and easy, so to speak. I mean, it wouldn't surprise me. And he was the biggest thing in Hollywood for how long? I mean,
long time. Oh, and you know what was a great movie that no one talks about? Trapeze.
I haven't. Oh God, yes, man.
Burt Lancaster, Gina Lollobrigida.
Yes.
And Tony Curtis.
Yeah, man, that's going back.
And there's a scene where Burt Lancaster plays supposed to be the greatest acrobat, aerial acrobat ever. Yeah. And he was crippled in a fall.
Yeah, it was like some triple jump with no net.
Right, the triple. Yeah. Right, the triple. Yeah. And Tony Curtis wants to learn from him, and at first he won't talk to him. But then Curtis shows his stuff and he's very impressed. And they start talking, and they're walking down the street on their hands, talking to each other. And I thought, and it was them.
Yeah, I know, it's real. Yeah, they were.
And I thought, this is so great. Lancaster leaves a body of work.
Well, I mean, the movie The Swimmer is one of my favorite.
Oh man, that is exquisite.
The way that movie ends. I mean.
Oh man, that I'm getting goosebumps. And Joan Rivers was in it.
That's right. Of course, yeah. Again, that's when you'd see people like that. Dom DeLuise is in Failsafe and has about 6 lines, and actually off. It's before he became a butterball. But The Swimmer, I just remember for having. Because I saw it as a kid late night, and it was just like, that is one of the most haunting endings I've ever seen.
Throw out your hands, stick out your tush, hands on your hips, give it a push. You'll be surprised when you're doing the French mistake. Ooh la!
Sounds like gas escaping. Yeah.
Are you ready, you sissy Marys?
You can't do that to Bunny.
Screw you. I'm working for Mel Brooks.
One of the best non-endings ever.
Yes.
It's one of the best and he had no way to end that movie. Didn't know how to end it, so he didn't. He just rolled it into something else. And
I loved what he said. What the guy who plays Hitler?
yes.
They're in the cafe. Yeah, I'm done after the bunker scene.
Well,
They wanted Richard Pryor
yeah,
to be Bart,
yeah,
but they couldn't insure him.
yeah, so he took his name off the script. He was
That's correct.
They got Cleavon Little to do it,
And I'll tell you what was great. I saw outtakes from that because I know Mel Brooks' son Max,
Right.
and you can't. It's very hard to find these. And the scene with Madeline Kahn.
Yes.
Where she goes, "Oh my God, is it true what they say about?"
Yeah, yeah, oh yes. Oh, it's true.
Give it a push. You'll be surprised. You're doing the French mistake. Voila.
Right. and so she she says, "Is it true what?" and oh my God, and in the outtake, what's his name? Cleavon Little says, "Baby, take it easy. That's
God,
my arm."
I want to see that. I'm gonna put that on tonight. I want to see that again.
Blazing Saddles.
Again, Alex Karras, former Detroit
Taggart.
Lion, acting tour de force as Mongo.
Mongo just pawned in Game of Life.
Hey, you can't park that animal there, and that trick horse, which they must have got off the scene of Captain
Taggart, go get a shitload of dimes.
Jay Lepetame or Tomaine Thoroughfare. Yeah.
And Gene Wilder.
Yes.
So one day I'm walking down the street and someone yells, "Reach!" And I wheel around and pull out my gun. It was a 9-year-old kid. So I shoved my gun in my pocket and I walked away. Little bastard shot me in the ass.
Wonderful movie. And
cut the bullshit. Who's the gang? I'm tired
of love.
Tired of playing the game.
I heard a punk rock version of that on Little Steven's Underground Garage last night.
Really?
Yes, it's a great rendition by some punk chick, and I tired of love from the bottom and above.
Yes.
Let's face it, she's pooped.
She's everything below the waist is kaput.
Yeah. Game.
Madeline Kahn, another highly underrated comedic actress who died entirely too young.
Ovarian.
And again, she made a couple turns.
Taggart.
Saturday Night Live, if memory serves. And
Daddy loves Froggy.
Help me in with this. Hello, boys.
How about if we kill all their firstborn? Too Jewish.
I love how Mel Brooks use humor. I mean, in the most subversive way possible, and make people laugh. And and if you got the one joke, that was great. But if you looked a couple levels deeper, it was even funnier. He got
the Mark Twain Prize, right? He's already won it. Mel Brooks. Okay.
What was on TV this weekend? Jon Stewart getting the Mark Twain Award. And what I find amazing is the farm team he created.
Look
at the people on that show. My God.
Yeah.
Carell, Samantha Bee.
Colbert.
I mean, Colbert, just amazing. And what was the name of the guy who was on The Office?
Steve Carell. I know who you're talking about.
No. The other. I'm sorry, you're right, but the other guy.
Rainn Wilson. I think.
No.
I know who you're talking about.
He was the one who proposed to the blonde in the show. His name on the show was Andy.
See, I never watched The Office.
What?
It was a period of time I turned my TV off in about 2006 and left the vast wasteland behind for the new highway there called the internet.
Ed Helms.
Ed Helms.
Ed Helms. Yep.
one of the best innocently obnoxious people on screen ever.
Yeah, they did a good job of casting that show, The Office.
The heavyset guy,
Oh yes,
the bald guy.
yes, Kevin, the guy who played Kevin. That was
Yes,
the guy, yeah, yeah. That was just great casting all around.
I love that show. I'll tell you a show I loved. I may be alone in this, but Scrubs.
Yes.
Only got to see
Oh.
two.
And surprisingly, that's one
John
of Susan's
McGinley
favorite
was
shows
just
too.
unbelievable.
Yeah, he played the janitor, right?
No, John
The guy who
McGinley
played the
played
janitor?
Dr. Perry. He played Perry, the doctor.
Oh, the hard ass doctor.
Right. The guy
yeah,
you're
okay.
thinking of was Neil Flynn.
Okay. Yeah,
who also had a tiny part in The Fugitive.
All those characters were great in Scrubs. I
And
like
in the
Scrubs.
Scrubs, they showed him as the janitor who got a bit part in The Fugitive.
Oh, that's fun. It's very funny. That's great.
And the head doctor, he had a son who was gay.
Yeah.
And Perry comes up to him, John McGinley, with an important question, and he goes, "I'm sorry, I can't talk to you now. My son's asking me, what dress should I wear to the prom?" Oh God, so funny, so funny.
I would go.
I used to love that show because they weren't afraid to do a musical number on that show, and I always enjoy when a show does that.
The one that was written by the people who did the girl was sick, like she couldn't hear or couldn't talk. What you know what I'm talking about?
Yeah. So she could only. I know what you're talking about. That's
What was these two guys? They wrote an award-winning musical. In real life, I mean.
Oh.
Right.
Oh, did you guys ever catch the musical number in Mad Men? There was only one.
No.
Oh, pity. Because Mad Men.
No, I never caught that.
Had Michael Morris.
They just had one on the last episode. No, didn't catch that.
Say it again on the last episode of.
I missed it.
Hold on for one. I'll be right back.
All right.
All right.
Yeah, it's just the two of us.
Here's where we talk about Sam.
Hey, thanks for getting me back, for prodding me to get back on stage, Mark. Seriously, it felt good. I had some serious rust, but there's parts in there good, and I'm pretty sure I can build on that. In fact, I'm quite certain I can build on that. So,
get back on Facebook so I can get back on Facebook so I can put you in the Facebook group for the Unclub.
Okay, I can do that.
Yeah,
I got off Facebook 2 years ago because it just was getting depressing. But social
don't
media.
Don't get into anything else but the Unclub. There's only 162 members of the Unclub. It's the 162 people that have appeared on stage, so it's a pretty limited.
Yeah,
it's the clubbiest group called Unclub that there could possibly be. So,
well, again, now my resistance to some of the social media ills is a lot higher than it used to be. Like a lot of folks, I had to sort of get used to this.
Am I on delay?
Yeah, I think you are a little bit. Yep. Yeah, you're not coming through now. So.
Well, I'm on a gigantic delay.
Yep, pretty long.
Holy crap! That was like about a 10-second delay. I wonder how that happened. I thought I was having a conversation with you guys for an hour and a half. I thought I was in a conversation for an hour and a half with you guys.
No, I've been. That's why I had to reboot. You were.
I'll have to ask Sam when he gets back if I'm on delay with him too.
Looks like you're still on delay with me.
Avenue
Yeah,
Q.
we're still off by about 10 seconds.
Avenue Q.
At least 5. There it is.
Was
Hey,
the name
Sam?
of the yes. The name of the Tony Award winning play that they
Oh,
used on Scrubs
that's
was
a great
Avenue
show.
Q.
That is a great show.
Yep.
Yeah.
And that's who did the musical for Scrubs.
Oh, excellent. That's a great show.
You know, they did the song Sacred Heart.
Yeah, my kids have. Oh, okay, cool. Yeah. Hey, Jason and I are on a 5-second delay with each other. Am I coming in for you?
Yes.
So everything I've said appears to have been on delay. I'm going to cut out and get back in and see if I can get timed in with you guys. So
If you were in
I'll be back in a
Montreal,
bit.
if you were in Montreal, you would say I'm cutting out.
Okay. Yeah, then I'm cutting out. Out. All right, I'll be right back.
Oh,
So, Sam, tell me about this job you may be getting. Is it like a prime drive time or?
it's morning drive,
Okay.
and it pays really, for Lansing, Michigan, a small, not a major metropolis.
No,
It pays pretty well.
Yeah. And it's also a feeder for the bigger markets as well. There's
Correct.
a lot of Lansing. And
This is what I'm thinking. I was talking to someone who brought up the idea that Mark brought up, which is, go up there for about 3 weeks,
yeah.
familiar. And I said, I don't know if they'll do it. And a friend of mine said, suppose they offer you 25% more than the salary says to stay there. I said, to stay there. Good morning, Lansing.
Yeah, at one point I was looking at a job many years ago working with Connie Kalita, one of the leading CIA airlines. It's one of the worst cargo freight companies you can imagine. But I was looking to get a job there that would have been in the UP of Michigan. It's
the Uper.
Oh my goodness! But in the UP, making $60,000 a year, you could pretty much become
wonderful money.
Oh my God! That's you
then and now, frankly.
Oh yeah, and the fact that you have regular 747 service between the UP and Ann Arbor, Michigan, or Ypsilanti, certainly would have been a plus, because you like I say, it was a maintenance depot at one of our old SAC bases. From back in the day when we would have taken off to go bomb the Soviet Union, but the good old days. What can I say?
Oh God! I asked a friend of mine who neither of you know. He's not in show business, and I asked him. I said, but he's from Michigan.
Yeah.
And I said, what town in Michigan would you not live in, no matter how much they paid you? And he said this so quickly. He said Benton Harbor. And I said, okay, what would be a town after Benton Harbor? He said Benton Harbor.
The man was not a fan of Benton Harbor.
No, I when there was a recession, I think it was like who was president? I think it was maybe Reagan. When did I start comedy? I think it was Reagan or Bush Sr. And I was working in Cleveland, and this is how bad the economy was. I did 7 shows for 400 people.
Yeah. And made what, $300?
Yeah. And so I get on stage and I go, how's everybody doing? Guy goes, I haven't worked in 6 years.
Oh, that had to be Reagan. I guarantee you that was Reagan.
And so I said, 6 years? I said, how do you eat? And he goes, well, my wife works.
Yeah.
And I go, and then he started heckling me. And he wouldn't let up. And the owner came over and he wouldn't let up. And I said, if you keep doing this, I'm going to have your wife withhold your allowance. And he gave me a look that made me think, wow, I'm going to die tonight. This is it.
Yeah. I had a
But
couple of those last night.
yeah, but all he did, he stood up and he went, "You're an asshole." I go, "Big mouth. Now everyone knows."
Just,
Yeah.
you see, they don't know how the game is played. They don't understand the sort of verbal ping pong. That's you're not going to win that round.
The best heckler killer, I don't mean comedian, club I've ever been to was Crackers in Indianapolis. This is what they would do. Not the one in Broad Ripple, Mark, but the other one, the one in the Fashion Mall.
Okay.
They had a guy, they had one of the managers walk up to the loud idiot, okay,
Yeah.
and say, "Sir, are you blah blah blah?" And go, "Yeah, there's a phone call for you."
Oh,
And
fantastic.
they would walk him out, and then another manager would come up and tell the rest of his party, "Get up, let's go, let's go, let's go, let's go, come on, come on, come on, come on, come on, come on, people are watching, let's go, let's go." And they would take, let's say, three of them outside,
Right.
and say, "This is your bill, pay it." And they pay it. And this is what I really loved. This is very classy. If these dicks wouldn't leave a tip, the owner would leave a tip.
That is classy.
That is because you knew they were dicks. So, you know, but a lot of times they would leave a tip. Okay. And they would take them out. They say, "You can never come back here. Ever."
See, my older brother would get drunk and he'd like that. He would heckle. He'd run his mouth. You know, I mean, that you know what I grew up with, and there were times it's like, him, no, I know him not. I paid my cover. I'm staying. Him, not much.
I did a gig with it was my one man show, okay? And I actually paid a guy to video it. And do you know Rhonda Hanson, Mark?
I sure do.
She's there with her husband, and that son of a bitch, he didn't heckle, but he would not shut up. He's ruining the tape. He's ruining the video. So I got off stage and I walked up to him and I said, "You're fucking up my video. I paid this guy to do my video. You have to shut your big, fat, miserable mouth." And I looked at her and I said, "And you're a comedian and you're letting this douchebag do this to me? You're an idiot."
Yeah.
And so at the end of the show, she said, "I'm never talking to you again." And I used my favorite line, which is, "I'd like that notarized."
A friend of mine who I had him come to some of my first stand-up performances specifically for him to heckle me, and he did a great job because we ended up getting laughs, and it kind of helped me along. But again, it was set up, and it was pretty clear that it was set up, you know, and that was sort of the fun of the whole thing, and the crowd had a good time.
Who was that?
My brother's daughter came to see me in a show. She was out in her 20s, and I comped her seats.
Yeah.
And she said, "Can you comp my drinks?" I said, "Your father paid for his Mercedes Benz with a check. You'll pay the bill." And they stiffed the waitress. And these are all people who are the sons and daughters of wealthy people. My brother was wealthy.
Yeah.
And she said, "Can I come see you?" I said, "You will never come to see my next show. If I see you walk in, I'm going to have you thrown out." I said, "I cannot believe you what an idiot you are." And she goes, "Well, there's a reason." I said, "Yes, the reason is you're an alcoholic."
Yeah.
That's the reason. You're a drunk.
Yeah.
And you won't. And she says, "That's not true." I said, "I have not been around you since you turned 21 that I haven't smelled liquor on your breath." Okay, so either you're an alcoholic or you're blowing Jim Beam.
I've done that. Yeah.
Blown Jim Beam?
A couple times. Hey, I needed the whiskey. All right.
Hey,
apologize, but what do you want from me?
You know the comedian Lenny Clark?
Oh God, yes.
He does this joke. It is so great. He goes, you know, a lot of people, you know, the idea of a blowjob really disgusts them if it's two guys. I don't understand what's disgusting. Let me say this. Me personally, I would never, ever do that. I just wouldn't. All right, I did it once, but I needed a ride home from the Cape. Those guys in Boston, him, Kenny Rogers, not Kenny Rogerson,
Kenny Rogerson.
Steve Sweeney,
Louis C.K.
Frank Santarelli, Louis C. There and Louis not only will do a great show, but he'll whack off to your girlfriend. So you got that going.
Well, I heard he's hung like a mule. So I mean, come on,
No, it's like a gherkin.
Are you kidding
Did I tell
me?
you?
I am kidding.
Did I tell you? Did I tell you my son's line about Louis C.K.?
No.
Yeah. I mean,
you weren't there. You weren't there, Jason. It was the week before. But my son, he goes, Louis C.K. is the only comic that his show has a splash zone.
I remember that. That's brilliant.
Yeah.
There's something. I remember when I used to do gigs with him, and he would, and people, I wouldn't let him drive. His license had expired. Okay. He would drive excessively fast. His brakes didn't work that well. And I thought, there's something wrong with this guy. There's something desperate. Your brakes don't work and your license is expired. What's wrong with you?
Yeah, it sounds like a comedian. I mean,
and the Comedy Cellar, one of the hottest, maybe the hottest club now in New York. They would still let him perform. Some clubs wouldn't. And they wouldn't let him. They would let him perform, and their policy was, if you come up to us and say, "I want my money back," we will refund you.
Was this after the
yes,
the
the scandal of him jerking off in front of two 22-year-old girls?
Which I gotta wonder. It's like what is that sexually? I mean,
you got to ask Harvey Weinstein.
I mean, I've had prison sex, and I admit it. But I don't get that.
This is what I don't get. What part of you thinks she's going to be okay with that?
Well, exactly. It's not a.
It's what it is.
It's a move.
It's like, to me, it's almost like it's molestation.
Yeah, it is. You
can't possibly think that she's going to be okay with that.
I'm not sure this is the correct answer, but
we're not getting you.
How about if no, none? Okay. I'm going to bow out then here real quick.
You're cutting in and out.
There you go. No, I mean, no, you're right. I mean, you're getting back to the basic dynamics of just someone's in an obviously superior position. It's not exactly the same thing as pedophilia, but it's sort of shoulder to shoulder with it. And that to say that, we've got someone who's in a position here of authority or dominance and someone who's in a very submissive position, and you're exploiting it to its maximum.
Well, shrinks will tell you. I'm sorry, go ahead.
I would say that just doesn't make any sense. That wouldn't be any fun for me. I don't get it. Why I wouldn't do that.
Shrinks will tell you that rape is not about sex. It's about power.
Power and domination. Yeah.
That's all. That's what it is.
Yeah.
You use sex as a tool to, do that power.
Right.
But it's about power. Did you know a comedian named Vince Champ?
No.
Mark, you knew him, right?
Mark had to bow out. Do you think he's rebooting his computer?
Vince Champ. Remember Vince Champ?
I do remember Vince Champ.
Vince Champ was a very successful comedian. He was on Star Search, very successful there. He would play colleges, and after the show, have a date with one of the co-eds and rape them.
Oof.
And to the best of my knowledge, he's still in jail.
Well, it has a happy ending.
I can look that up real quick.
Because he got like 35, 40 years.
Oh yeah, he'll still be in jail then.
Yeah,
and who he was very good friends with? Dennis Miller.
What's like Dennis? One time.
I'm sorry, you're cutting out.
Is Vince Champ still in jail?
We're waiting on Siri here.
Did you say Camp or Champ?
I said Champ.
Isn't okay,
yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. No, you're right. You're right.
Hold on. It didn't go to the right screen.
God damn it.
And see, because I did the voice query, and it got part of your question in there too. Oh, stop it. Oh, now it's selling. Now it's giving me the entry, the Google entry for stop it. All right, stop it. All right, how do I stop this thing? Okay, hold on. Is Vince Champ still in jail? Here it comes. He's currently serving 30 to 40 year sentence at Nebraska State Penitentiary.
Woo.
His projected release date. Are you ready?
Yeah.
2033.
There's a Buck Rogers.
After which he will begin 2 consecutive life sentences. After he serves another 11 years in Nebraska, he gets released and then serves 2 consecutive life terms in Iowa. So
Wow.
That sounds like a treat.
Consecutive.
Nice.
Yeah.
So he's going to die in jail.
Oh, yeah.
Peoplepill.com, a website, lists him as Vince Champ, American comedian and convicted rapist.
Boy, what a terrible resume.
I know.
Yeah, that's not great on the CV. You don't want that.
Oh, man.
Oh, this is horrible. Casualcriminalist.com has Vince Champ, comedian, serial rapist, and a real jerk. And then, but the picture they put up
A
is
real
Norm.
jerk. Rapist wasn't enough.
But here's the sad thing. The picture they put up is Norm. The picture they put up is Norm Macdonald.
Oh boy!
Stop.
No.
So casual criminalist. Let's take casual criminalist off of our serious journalist.
Do you remember? You know the movie Ocean's 11 with George Clooney?
Yes.
The funniest line in that movie is when Elliot Gould is talking about Andy Garcia, who was a mobster.
Yes.
And he goes, "Listen, you mess with him, he'll not only kill you, then he goes to work on you." Now you've pissed him off.
It's like Don Rickles talking about one of the club owners back in the day. You get this guy mad at you, end up on a meat hook and back with a couple of Chinese chefs.
Oh God!
I miss Rickles.
So much.
I just
he did the Kennedy Center on a night when they honored Kissinger.
Oh, that had to be good.
And he goes,
worse.
"Ladies and gentlemen, Nobel Prize winning statesman Henry Kissinger," and everybody applauds. He goes, "Henry, it's over."
He did that on Johnny. He sits down, says hello to Johnny, and looks at him and goes, "Don't worry, Ed, he's dumping you. I'm sorry, you're out. You're done."
Do you guys know Jason Stewart?
I do, yeah.
No, I don't.
Okay, so I'm still on Vince Champ here, going through some of the stuff that comes up.
So was Jason, I hear.
No, yeah, well, Jason, yeah, Jason comes up. I love this. So Mark Maron had Jason Stewart on his podcast.
Right.
Jason Stewart mentions that one of his earliest heroes was stand-up comedian Vince Champ. And then they go on to tell the story about whatever happened to Vince Champ, until that became a rapist, got convicted, consecutive life terms, blah, blah, blah. Adweek.com, for whatever reason, is doing a story on either Jason or Maron and includes the headline, "Early champion of stand-up Jason Stewart was convicted rapist." That's the headline. In Adweek. And oh God.
You know what this reminds me of? There was an old joke by Belle Barth. And she goes to a funeral for a hooker. And the other hooker starts crying, and she goes, "No one could blow a guy like her." And they go, "See, they don't say a good thing about you till you're gone."
Yeah.
All right, boys, it's 1:30.
Time to go. Hey,
or an hour and a half is what I meant to say.
I knew you meant by 1:30. Hey, it's been great having you guys, as it is every week. For those of you just tuning in for the first time, we're here every Monday night, and we're on YouTube. If you found us there, we're on Detroit Comedians and Comedy Fans Facebook page. If you found a night show that we do in Ypsilanti, Michigan, come out and see us there anytime. See, maybe not Sam, but Jason and Andy and I. Even if we're not on stage, we're there, and you can come and meet us. And of course, it's on my own personal Facebook page. So we're here every week at Monday night. So come back. Thank you guys for joining us. How about a wave for everybody as they close the shows out here? Oh,